which is always a joy and such fun. So we can celebrate our first full day of spring today. A little picture from our board president. Just be on mute if you're not on mute yet, by the way, just to make sure everybody can hear properly. So our board president, Marg, sent me this picture of the front yard of their home. She and Wendy's home about maybe 2 weeks ago, Marg, if I'm right about that. And it was small and the house was in the background. And she said, enlarge the picture. And the name or subject of the email was faith. So faith in seeing these little crocuses all coming up and the little things turning up and the snow subsiding. So we knew spring was just around the corner. So thank you for sharing that picture, Marg. That was very kind of you to do that. And it did give us the fact that faith and spring is on the way, which is always a good thing to see. To enhance your Sunday service, if you would kindly just mute, we would appreciate that very much. It makes it easier for the recording and it takes less bandwidth if you're on mute because it tries to pick up all the background noise. So we appreciate that. We also like to recognize at Unity Kitchener that we are situated on the Haldimand Tract. This is the land that is promised to the Haudenosaunee people of the Six Nations of the Grand River. And they are within the territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. And we say thank you, Miigwech. And with our gong, we'll come together and start our service. Welcome to everybody. Welcome in all the languages and all the possibilities throughout the world. We have, again, some things to celebrate. It was St. Patrick's Day this week as well. So I thought we'd have a little morning blessing here. And may your day be blessed. May your morning be bright. May your evening be filled with fae and sprite. May you dine on joy, feast on hope, and bathe in the graceful. And I'm sorry, my stuff is over top of my, this is the way it works on Zoom sometimes when you're sharing, all of a sudden you can't see the bottom line. So I hope you saw that. And we're also celebrating having Mel here to speak today. So welcome, Mel. We'll have you come on and do your wonderful talk, Are You Listening, very, very soon. And let's start with a singing of joy singing.
There's a heart that will never turn away. There's a love that I know is here to stay. There's a peace that will fill the world one day, and it's all inside me. There's a friend who will always care for me. Every hour of my life be there for me. There's a strength that will always carry me, and it's all inside me. And I know I will find my way to the peace that is mine. All the love and the light I need wait for me here inside. There's a faith that will see me through each day. There's a word that is here each time I pray. There's a song that will heal my soul today, and it's all inside me. There's a spirit divine and ever free. There's a light that will shine eternally. There's a dream of a world in harmony, and it's all inside me. And I know I will find my way to the peace that is mine. All the love and the light I need wait for me here inside.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Unity Kitchener. We're thrilled to have you here. My name is Marilyn Smith. I serve as a board member and on this platform team. Sunday facilitation comes together with many people So we're just delighted to have several people involved with the service, the wonderful music provided by Trish, and a great group of prayer partners in the background that are making sure that each of the things that we need to put into the service are done. Cheryl and Marg as well are always part of this service. So thank you to everybody who puts it together. The Unity theme for 2021 is how to stay centered no matter what. And the theme for March in the 12 powers is wisdom. I can handle any circumstance by tapping into the wisdom within me and all around me. So we invite you to grab a favorite beverage if you like, settle in and enjoy some spiritual time together. Let's sing our welcome song.
Spirit's journey, sailing on the ocean, ocean of wonders, ocean of love. Spirit's journey, learning what we're here for. Here we are together, together in love. We are unity, teaching each other, reaching a hand out, touching a friend. We are unity, growing in wisdom, sharing our vision, growing in love. Spirit's journey, seeing new horizons, setting a course for living the truth. Spirit's journey, unity in motion, sailing on the ocean of love. We are unity, teaching each other, reaching a hand out, touching a friend. We are unity, growing in wisdom, sharing our vision, growing in love, growing in love.
We know we're studying the 12 powers through Unity this year, and the 12 powers, one for each month. And in the month of March, it is wisdom. Dr. Paul Hasselbeck has a slightly different take on all of the 12 powers, and some of us are taking a class with him right now on the 12 powers, and he calls wisdom the evaluator. The color is vibrant yellow. It's represented by the disciple James, son of Zebedee. And in the women in the Bible, which is another part of the course that he's presenting, it's represented by Deborah. Deborah shows up in Judges in the Old Testament and is one of the only female prophets ever described in the Bible. Wisdom is described as the blend of knowledge from the head to the heart. A long journey sometimes, but even a short space. The affirmation, if you'd like to say it with me, is I am guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. The location of wisdom in the body, in the chakras, is in the solar plexus, the pit of the stomach, and is run by earth energy. So when we touch the earth, we're sometimes getting that solar plexus space, that base of wisdom that we have in our life. So enjoy that. You'll notice our slides this month are the color of the wisdom with the yellow in the background. We'll turn it over to Cheryl Rogers, our ministry coordinator, for our opening prayer.
Good morning, everyone. I invite you to close your outer eyes if this is something you are comfortable doing so, and to take in a deep breath and to let it out slowly. And again, another deep breath, releasing it slowly. Now relax and breathe easily. And in your mind's eye, picture a vibrant yellow like the sun in your solar plexus area, shining in and through you, and see it spreading throughout your body, throughout and beyond your body, and covering our earthly planet. Feeling centered in principle, our source of spiritual strength, we steady our thoughts in prayer. Our human thoughts are now elevated as we remember the truth of who we are, the I am of all that is, all that was, and all that ever will be. And hear these words as your own. I release all to divine spirit, feeling peaceful and free. Easily and gracefully, I let go of what has gone before me, so that I am free in the moment for all that is possible now. Wise thoughts flow as answers to my heart's desires. I am attuned to divine inspiration, confident and sure with every step I take, aware that I have purpose, that I am here on purpose, and that everywhere I am, God is. I assert that it is so, feeling so much love and gratitude as we say, and so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Cheryl. We know that unity does not have a dogma or a set of stories that must be attached to it, but it has 5 core values. Spirit is good, people are good, thoughts create experiences, prayer is connection, and prayer and action is needed. And unity honors the universal truth in all religions and respects each person where they are on their own path. Spirit is good and present everywhere, even within. And I love what Kelly Asola said the other day, a few weeks ago, that we talk about the spark of divinity. And she said, we're actually a fire of divinity. We're not just a spark. And I thought that's a really neat way to say it, because it values all of us. But if anybody needs to talk about the spark, sometimes it's just because there's days we feel like it's just a small spark, but we need to know it's there. So always know it's there. It's always inside you. We are spirit and we are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. The way we think is how we have our human experience, since we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Thought and meditation, creative thinking, these heighten our awareness, and we co-create with the divine to bring out the good in our life. And as we know, action is always needed. It might be the action of just listening to the still small voice, or it might be action that we must take and are asked to do. And that is the power of the teachings of unity. Each month we put up a few extra teachings just to go a little bit deeper into it, depending on our speaker and depending on what our themes are of the month. We know that Unity co-founders Charles and Myrtle Filmer studied the Bible as more of an allegory, the idea of metaphysical representation. So the stories were used more as lessons and parables. We know that each person is a unique expression of the divine. And with that expression, we live with awareness in the world. Unity emphasizes creative power of thoughts in our life experience, and that's the law of mind action. We take full responsibility for all our words and for all our actions. We emphasize at Unity the importance of applying spiritual truths and principles in our daily lives. So not trying to correct others, only working on growing ourselves. And Unity teaches us to evolve as we identify, we embrace and apply the spiritual insights. So it is never a stagnant space. It's never one story. It's an evolving space. And we at Unity Kitchener strive to always be a safe, inclusive, and welcoming space. Unity's worldwide vision, which we've adopted here at Unity Kitchener as well, is we see a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our purpose or mission here at Unity Kitchener is to transform consciousness and empower lives, and know that unity is a positive path for spiritual living. I'll ask Celia to read our daily word for March 21st.
The absolute word today, forgive, is based on the Sunday messages appearing in the daily word, Unity's daily word. Forgive. I joyously forgive myself. I have forgiven those who have hurt and disappointed me. Forgiveness happens when I am willing to let go of everything I have erroneously added to another person's innate dignity and innate divinity. In turn, I have been grateful when others extended kindness, grace, and forgiveness to me. While I can forgive others, I may find it difficult to forgive myself, perhaps for mistakes, disappointments, and broken commitments. I know everyone makes mistakes and deserves understanding and forgiveness, even me. I remember self-forgiveness happens when I accept myself and let go of everything I have erroneously added to my innate divinity. I focus on the principles of benevolence and generosity as I grant myself a huge helping of kindness and grace. I love, honor, accept, and forgive myself. Joy is mine. Please join in with me. I joyously forgive myself.
Thank you, Celia.
You're welcome.
You'd affirm a blessing for Unity Kitchener together. Always open to deeper spiritual understanding, Unity Kitchener thrives as we journey through life, recognizing any challenges that come our way are both opportunities and blessings. We handle our affairs and decisions with good judgment and positive, bold conviction. We affirm we are divinely guided to right action and innovative solutions in sacred synchronicity. Aligned with spirit, we are prospered and whole as a community and as individuals. With love and gratitude, we say, thank you, thank you, thank you.
When the storms of life are raging and confusion gets me down, can't decide which way to go and feel I'm losing ground. I know that there is a plan for me. I know I'll be shown my path. So I look inside where I find my faith. I come home and listen to my heart. That's where spirit is, the place I go to start. I let it all go, I listen, I know. There is magic when I listen to my heart. In the eye of the storm, there's a blessing, and it waits with a message for me. When I'm ready to grow, I will open to what spirit wants me to see. Through the rain and the hail comes a good breeze. It guides me and whispers, start. When I turn within, there is peace, there is strength. I come home and listen to my heart. I can ride out the storm with the wind at my back. The sun will shine again. Spirit provides magic when I listen to my heart. There is magic when I listen to my heart. Listen.
Thank you, Trish. What a great song and what a great graphic. Thank you for giving us that to introduce the talk today. That's wonderful. We are delighted to have Mel Horvath-Lucid with us again, a friend of Unity's at all times, and particularly special days when she comes to talk. I was thinking of reading a biography, Mel, but many people know you and know where you come from with us, and we're always delighted to have you. And I thought I would just mention that you are a person of beauty, sort of personal beauty, soul beauty. I know you teach beauty, you make beauty on others, and you certainly bring beauty with the talks that you give for us to expand our souls and expand our hearts. So we welcome you and want to hear more about Are You Listening?
So I want to invite you into this space of considering wisdom and listening, or the wisdom of listening. And Doug Larson said, wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening, when you would have preferred to talk. When I'm talking about spiritual companioning, I want to put it into some framework for you. There is sometimes within spiritual communities this idea that, oh, that person's hurting, they better go see so-and-so or so-and-so. And what we miss is the ability we have to hold space for another to share. It is that simple. That is what I'm talking about. Is spiritual companionship is our ability to be with another, with their experience as they explore their experience. And this spiritual care is different than pastoral counseling. And it's also different than professional counseling. And those are other resources we can certainly encourage people toward or to consider. And the profound ability we have to hold space for one another is something that I think we've undervalued in our fast-paced world, and also within a space of potentially fear of that level of emotion and not sure what to do with it. And I've talked about that before in the context of one of the deepest experiences I had, which was at a fire where my job was to tend to these 3 fires with these 2 other people. And I don't know their names. And each time we would put a log on the fire, we would let go of something. And what was so powerful about that experience was that no matter what it was that we were putting on the fire, our only job was to hold space and to really, truly be present with another. We didn't talk, we didn't exchange words at all. And I noticed that, and it stays with me because I felt so unbelievably held, so unbelievably connected, and so unbelievably heard. And so in the world where we are all dealing with a different bandwidth than before within the pandemic, there's an increase of that desire for those really rich spaces of being able to be with our heart and listen and have that mind connection, and to know that we're doing that and that we're not alone. And so I wanted to create a context for spiritual companionship that's slightly different than friendship, which also has a space and really amazing conversations that connect back and forth. That spiritual companionship is shifting into the qualities of being with another as they explore their heart, their experiences. A common heart agreement or covenant says, we will act in such a way that honors the idea that we all arrive whole and do not require fixing. This becomes key because for so many of us, there is an inclination to think that the answers are outside of ourselves And there's also a desire that some of us have to be helpful. And in that place, we move away from, we either fix something sometimes to relieve our own discomfort, or take something that isn't ours to take, thinking that we're being helpful. And so this powerful idea that we all arrive whole, that we don't require fixing, allows us to then be in a place that empowers one another to hold what is our responsibility and to look at it as we're ready to, and to journey with somebody on their own time, in their own space, in their own process, and to realize the deep honor that is. Sid Banks said, if the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. And what I've found in my work is that the more spaces we create where there is a strong container that says, you're okay, we're in this together, I'm here with you, I'll get in the river with you and walk with you while you find your source. And I want to really amplify the energy of getting in the river and walking with somebody that we're not leading, we're walking with them and we're noticing where they want to walk. And that's very different than I'll get into the river with you and we'll float down or we'll go through the rapids together. That's very different than this idea of intentionally getting in and walking with awareness, with consciousness, with somebody on their journey. And what an honor that is, to be able to be present with somebody else in their unfolding. Let's do the math. Full disclaimer, I'm actually, I was going to say terrible at math, and then I was trying to find a way to make it more positive. But you'll see that I have created unbelievably advanced mathematical equations. And I want to look at those a little bit this morning. My fear plus your fear equals fear magnified and affirmed. Sometimes what happens is that we meet each other and it's like, I'm scared and we're scared. And we magnify and we affirm that. Sometimes it might look like my stuff plus your stuff equals a lot of stuff. And that's when we meet one another and it's sort of this accumulation of our stuff. And I notice that truly that deep inner work, we'll notice those moments where we meet one another and yet you meet them differently than you did before because you see with new eyes. My stuff as your stuff. Sometimes we may show up, and if the person we are talking to isn't boundaried, we go, oh, sweet, this is awesome. Here's my stuff. I'm going to put that on you. We want to watch that in community too. And that happens when we have missed our power. We then go, oh, someone really better do something about this. And just so you know, I noticed this isn't happening. And we throw it. And we think that that is going to relieve something within us, but it doesn't. And it can actually bring up more for us to notice, because then we're frustrated that things aren't being done the way we would have done them. And then there's this one, and this relates to the all people arriving whole and not needing fixing. And it's someone sitting in front of us in pain, and we say, I'll take your stuff. And what you can notice within that is that what we've said to that person is, you're not actually capable of doing your own work. So I'll do it for you. And what you may notice is that you feel quite burnt out. But maybe like me, there's those times where you're sitting in the conversation and you're listening to someone talk and you can feel it well up in you. You know the answer. You're extra wise. You've got so much wisdom to impart. But what do I do with all my wisdom and knowledge? And within spiritual companionship, if the idea is to cultivate wisdom and to hold space for another's journey, what we do with that wisdom, our idea, that fix that we know would just help, or if they just heard this, then what do we do with it? And the encouragement, at least within the path of spiritual direction that I'm trained in, is we hold it. We simply notice. We notice our desire to talk. We notice what's coming up. We notice that we're feeling extra wise and that we think that imparting that is the most important thing to do. We simply notice it and we hold it and we move back to the person we're companioning and we ask them open and challenging and curious questions that invite them into their experience, their story, their wisdom, their capabilities, because their journey isn't our journey and our journey isn't their journey. The last couple of times I've brought in this idea, the Buddhist idea of metta, and this idea of meeting one another with loving kindness. There's a couple other qualities I want to layer on today that hold a Buddhist philosophy. And that is the idea of metta, loving kindness, the idea of listening is as wisdom and is wisdom, the idea of delighting, appreciative joy, delighting in the person that you're listening to. And the last one is equanimity and giving space for another to show up, to share their story, to show who they are, to reveal and journey with us. In Christianity, Proverbs 2:10 and 11 say, "For wisdom will enter your heart and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion, freedom to decide and discern, will protect you, and understanding will guide you." That idea of holding space for another to be free to decide and discern and to make sense of their stuff, and the profound honor that I feel to journey with another as they do their work, their deep work, their shadow work, their light work, as they're looking at that, to hold them in such a place that it delights fully in who they are and what they bring to the world. So I want us to hold those ideas as we move into a place of looking today at the Quaker philosophy. And Quaker philosophy says Quakers or friends hold before themselves three central challenges: to listen to the Spirit, to love God and neighbor, and to risk whatever is necessary to do so. And that includes laying down your own stuff. And for me, Quakerism, Eric Butterworth references Quakers quite a bit and has worked. And it's because we know that there's many paths and many people on different places in those paths, and there's overlap. And so this idea of listening and making room for spirit is primal. It's essential. And love, metta, loving kindness, for God and ourselves as expression of the divine, and for neighbor as the expression of divine. And to hold our vision and our values in such high regard that we would risk whatever is necessary to do so. And oftentimes in spiritual companionship, it is the laying down of our own stuff to be with one another. The idea was presented to me last fall, and this idea has profoundly changed me. And it's the idea of listening in tongues. I'd often heard about speaking in tongues and divine wisdom that comes from speech, but it was the first time I had heard the idea of listening in tongues. I've often said that Jesus for me is one of my most relatable sort of people, in that I respect so much Jesus's capability to be with other people where they're at, to meet them as they show up, and to meet with such a variety of people with such a variety of beliefs, and to listen and hear in a way that there's the ability to discern. Listening in tongues is about learning to hear the heart of each person, to expand our ability to hear in the ways that communication is being delivered. To hear also the whispers of the ghost still haunting and the emotion behind the emotion. To hold space for that with another and to be with their experience. That is the gift spiritual companionship holds. The other quote that was presented in that learning was, only speak when you can improve the silence. And that is something that I've taken with me to every single meeting I attend now, is what I'm about to say going to improve the silence? And then asking deeper, is what I'm about to say going to improve the silence? Or why am I speaking? Or why am I talking? Why am I still talking? There's a couple acronyms like that out there. The idea of listening in tongues too calls on us to open ourselves up to hearing people talk in language that is not our own, with beliefs that we may not subscribe to. And yet in doing so, we hold space for another to be with their experience, which is very real. It's very present anyways, whether we say it is or say it isn't. And so we create this container for which we can hear through a multitude of lenses. We become stronger and more powerful in our ability to listen. So one of the first pieces of this idea of listening in tongues says, I do my work. The work we've done on ourselves in acknowledging the joy, sorrows, hurt, and spectrum of experience cultivates loving kindness and compassion when others show up as their whole selves. And what I'm talking about here is the understanding that we are all things, dark and light. And when we start to see that within ourselves, and we start to see that as not broken apart, shattered realities, but whole, our wholeness within that light, dark, and every other shade, that we are every color of the rainbow. So the first step then in listening in tongues is learning to hear our own heart, to discern our true voice over those of our frightened self, seeking to cover our pain. And once we are practiced at listening to our heart, we will find our center is one of goodness and light. And imagine that, because that is the first unity principle. God is good and God is present everywhere. Don't like the word God, maybe it's love. Maybe it's divine, maybe it's spirit, present everywhere, that the universe is conspiring with you in your favor, that what you are seeking is seeking you, that idea. So we acknowledge our own stuff, and with wisdom and deep listening, we do what is ours to do, and we do so with great heart, with meta loving kindness. Because to do any self-work without that is injurious. It's trauma promoting, right? To look at ourselves through a lens of not enoughness, not worthy, and then do that work can be harmful. So we move first to that understanding of our wholeness. The second is this. It's the most powerful statement that you can ever gift another. And it is this: how you show up is how I will meet you. I will learn to listen in many tongues. The permission to show up how you are and as you are, and to really mean that, to really bring that quality as a person, opens up so much more space for people themselves to embrace and see who they are and sort through those experiences. And part of that is knowing that there's value in being witnessed and there's value in being present. And sometimes we have undervalued listening, presence, and the witness. And those are key parts of how we can show up for and with one another. Because we know each person has a unique life story, one filled with joy, sorrow, disappointment, and pride of accomplishments. No person is just one thing. We are all. The present is often crowded with the ghosts of our past, and if we don't learn to listen to those ghosts, we run the risk of repeating our mistakes. We acknowledge the all that is in each of us to hold the good and the wholeness of each person. In this, we cultivate a common humanity, a sensation of oneness. Because oftentimes what the great deceptor does is has us thinking we are alone in what we're experiencing. And yet, if I am all things, joy, sorrow, disappointment, pride, keep going, and you are all those things, and we both are aware of that, then whatever we bring to the table is accepted. And there's space to explore that when we move from that place of judgment to an understanding of the all for which we speak, that we can draw the circle bigger than whatever it is to hold whatever is coming up in that present moment. So spiritual companionship in action, prayer and meditation. I want to draw in the reality of the absolute wisdom that unity brings. Human beings have a spark of divinity within them, the Christ spirit within. Their very essence is of God, is good. It is amazing to me that that holds so closely to that Quaker ideology. But unity went farther. Unity literally has an entire ministry dedicated to prayer. And fascinatingly enough, silent unity and prayer partners and meditation. And it is because wisdom is held within those spaces of listening, those spaces of prayer. Think about the power of being with somebody else and having them pray with you. And, you know, they're not solving anything. They're not advice giving. They're simply holding with you in whatever your experience is and praying with you. Have we undervalued the power of prayer and meditation? And oftentimes it can look like, gosh, I'm so glad I'm meditating, because when I do so, I can feel the transformation. I feel so much better. And yet other things get in the way of us prioritizing that. And that's what I value about that idea of the third sort of commitment that Quakers make to risk everything to make sure that those things we say are important are showing up in our lives. And so for me, there is a deep valuing of prayer, creative thinking. And creative thinking too requires us to have space, and sometimes to have somebody there, especially for those that think more externally, to have somebody there to hear and to ask powerful questions back and be curious with you in whatever it is you're exploring. And that heightens the connection then between mind and heart and wisdom, and bring forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. So my challenge within this is to explore more deeply this week prayer and meditation. Whatever your current practice looks like, it means just adding a little bit more, or it means maybe stepping out and calling the prayer line, or connecting with somebody within your unity community and experiencing prayer in that way, or that deeper way. And lastly, knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live that truth that he or she or they know. And so within that living, it becomes that part of us that knows deeply that we're still learning, that we're still growing, and holding space for that. In some of the training I've taken, we call it the heart of wonder, that quality of being present with another. So I want to talk about, for a moment before we move into meditation, about the spiritual companionship, the qualities that come up when we meet each other in that space. And those qualities are like this. I'll be with you while you sort your stuff and reflect on your experiences. I will ask powerful questions with openness and curiosity. I will affirm that you have wisdom and capabilities, and through this, empower you to respond to your life and experiences. I will be with you. I care and am curious about who you are, what you think, and what you are learning. You are whole, capable, and do not require fixing. When we meet each other in this place, the possibilities are profound because we say, I will get in the river and I will walk with you to your source. And I'll do so with a heart of wonder, with curiosity. And I promise you, you'll learn about you in the process. But when we can notice our stuff coming up, and instead of placing that into somebody else's space and process, asking ourselves, oh, why? Why is that so important to me right now? That's where our learning is cultivated in the practice of listening. We're both listening in and responding to ourselves and that heart and mind connection. And we are also holding space for another to do the same. So I invite you into a time of meditation, and it will be enveloped with a song at the beginning and a song at the end. And for the purpose of the type of meditation I'm doing today, I think it'll be Marilyn that this is most relevant for. Marilyn, you'll just want to watch for when I finally mute my mic, because there will be moments of extended or expansive silence today, and that's intentional. So I invite you into deep listening, into a space of knowing that you are being met by the divine love in that space, and to listen to the wisdom of the silence.
Listen to the still small voice, the still small voice. Listen to the still small voice, the still small voice within.
Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. Listen. Listen to the silence. And hear the magnitudes of wisdom from which it speaks. Be. Be still. Be still and know. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Will you meet me in the stillness if I am brave enough to go? Will you meet me in the mess of it and love me still the same? Will your eyes be wide or many enough to see the all I am? Will you think of me as more or less if I was brave to let you in? Will you walk with me when the plans are unsure and when I cannot see? Will you sit with me while I sort things out and do so with curiosity? Will you know that I am capable of holding what is mine? Will you give me time to hold it so that I can mold it and transform it into love I can receive? Will you walk with me in the river until I find my source? Will you walk with me and listen with heart of wonder and curiosity? Will you know that I am afraid, but that you bring awareness that I am not alone? Will you know that I am strong enough to walk my journey home? Will you? I will be with you while you reflect on your experiences. I will be present with a heart of loving kindness bursting full of wonder. I will ask powerful and open questions with curiosity and an open mind. I will affirm you have wisdom and capability to do the work that is yours to do. I will affirm that you are whole and that you don't require fixing. I will see you with the eyes that soulfully know the all that is in us, and from this place offer compassion and connection. I will see where I end and you begin, that we might not confuse whose journey is who. I will walk with you in the river until you find your source. And beautiful soul, I will delight in your unfolding, like watching a flower bloom in the warm spring sun and the misting of the rain.
Are you listening? Are you listening? Do you know you're not alone? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm the voice that calls you home. Can you take a broken promise and find the truth that still remains? Can you hold a candle to the sun and kindle a new flame? Can you open up a window with the opening of your eyes? Can you let the river run away? Can you let your soul cry? Are you listening? Are you listening? Do you know you're not alone? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm the voice that calls you home. Can you speak the tender treasures that lie nestled in your heart? Can you take a precious moment and send it to the stars? Are you following the rhythm of the rocking of the waves? Are you standing in your darkness has left you hiding far away, far away. The angels have come calling you to play. Come and play. Come and play. Come and play. Are you listening? Are you listening? Do you know you're not alone? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm the voice that calls you home. Are you listening? Are you listening? Do you know you're not alone? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm the voice that calls you home.
Thank you, Mel. My body feels so much peace. You bring such a beautiful and rich message to us, and thank you for those thoughts, those actions that we can take, paying attention to the still small voice and paying attention to our listening when so often we want to correct or fix or so desperately help. And I think the perfect message, and I'll want to go back and listen to it all again because it had so much richness to it. It was a wonderful and perfect lesson. So thank you so much for today. We're always grateful to have you and very much looking forward to having you back with us in March again. So thank you, thank you, thank you. After service, Mel, if you can stay with us for a little while, we'd love to have a chance to say hello. Any questions, any takeaways, please come and share any wisdom or takeaways you have from our service today. We'd love to have a chance to have a chatter, and any questions you have for Mel, of course, would be delightful to have some more talk about. That perfect kind of talk, and the idea of listening and sharing is wonderful. We know that unities are all unique entities. They live on the love offering, donations, and kindnesses of all that we bring financially. As we joyously receive, we so joyously give also. So we know what we give, we also receive back again, and it always comes back to us tenfold. If you'd like to e-transfer to unitykitchener@gmail.com, that's perfect. It's an ideal way to give on a weekly basis, or if you'd like to set something up that's more consistent giving and conscious giving, you can go to the Give button on our website, unitykitchener.com, and that will take you to Tithely, the Tithely app, and that will allow you to set up a one-time or ongoing donation if you would like to do that. And we do gratefully accept all that you give. If you'd like to take any blessing in your hand today and hold your hands together, love, financial givings, talents, and treasures, please say with me, divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I joyously give, and all that I joyously receive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. And we know that we are always aligning ourselves with abundance. We know that, as was mentioned before in the teachings and in Mel's talk, that unity was built on affirmative prayer. And the idea of bringing in the Quakers was very interesting because Quakers base a lot of their time together in silence. And the idea that silent unity is also available to us 24/7. There's an app for silent unity called You Pray. It's available by phone at 1-800-NOW-PRAY. So at any time, silent prayer is available for somebody that will either give prayer or simply sit in silence with you. We also have Power of Prayer at Unity Kitchener with our Partners in Prayer team. They have training in affirmative prayer and available by appointment. If you'd like to have time scheduled, unitykitchener@gmail.com will get you that time. For sharing today, if you'd like to enter a first name in the chat, one or more, yourselves or others, Spirit always knows who the last name is and always know what the prayer is for. So feel free to put that in the chat. That will be taken in by one of our partners in prayer and make sure it's held in prayer for 30 days. And after that, we send all of the prayers that come through Unity Kitchener to Silent Unity to be held in prayer for another 30 days. We are delighted that our partners in prayer are going to be attending the Affirmative Prayer Conference, which is going to be at the end of the month, I believe. The idea of this is to go deeper with some training, to have ideas of how to use affirmative prayer and affirmative action and meditation. Of course, this is on behalf of Unity Kitchener, but done Unity worldwide, so they'll be meeting other partners in prayer. This is something that we've decided as a board to financially underwrite. I think it's important that is our shared spiritual awakening, and also it also underwrites our mission, which is to empower lives and empowering consciousness. And we want to make sure that we're always allowing people to learn more so they can do more. If you're interested in being a partner in prayer, please contact the office, either on the website or unitykitchener@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support this financial endeavor that we're taking on at Unity Kitchener, please feel free to send a separate e-transfer or go through Tithely for a one-time donation. You just might want to list it as Partners in Prayer or Conference or Affirmative Prayer Conference so that we know that it's giving towards this very special retreat for this very special group at Unity Kitchener. And we say thank you. A few announcements just to wrap up this week. Marg, our board president, mentioned last week that we had decided to give up the office at 2631 Kingsway Drive. At this point, it's been a fairly costly sort of storage center because of COVID. Not many people have been using the space, but we do want to say thank you to Dave Roy and his group. He's been incredibly generous to us. This will also save us money per month, and as we're still living in a bit of a deficit as far as month-to-month things go, we'd like to be able to save money as well. Thank you to everybody that's worked on the move. And one little update from last week is that we've been given the opportunity to move out a little while earlier and save April's rent. So we'll be done by the end of March. So thank you for all of the people that are helping with moving, helping with storage, putting everything together. And we know our next right and perfect home will be available to us when it comes our way. And speaking of that, our treasurer, Nihal, is going to head a search committee to be looking for a new home, the idea of gathering for our next steps. So costs and rentals versus purchasing, what's available in our area, amenities we need to have, and just getting together as a committee to talk about those things and also investigate what's available. If you would like to be part of this committee, you're welcome to email Nihal directly. His email is there on the screen. If you'd kindly put in Building Search Committee in your subject line, then he'll know it's directed towards Unity Business, and we'll be able to contact you back as to the first times you'll be getting together. So please think about becoming part of that really important search team for our next steps when we can join together physically, which will be awesome. Thank you again for all the spirit groups. There'll be new spirit groups starting in May. If you're interested in hosting, Cheryl, our ministry coordinator, is going to be organizing some of the training that goes on kind of behind the scenes. If you'd like to be a host, 6:30 p.m. on April the 13th. Please email her directly, mcunitykitchener@gmail.com, for the information about it and the Zoom link. Please know that you're not making a commitment by coming to this training. This is an investigation scenario for you that in the first hour, it'll just be the information about hosting. I think it's about 2.5 hours altogether. The second half will be about training directly, but we want people to come and see if this is something that they'd like to do. Hosting a group is not difficult, but they have some steps you can take, some things you can read, ways to set it up, to make it as easy as possible. And of course, we do things as a group as far as a book study or an interest group or whatever. So we start things and then we build on whatever we're actually studying for those, usually a 6-week time, once a week for 2 hours. So please consider looking to be a host. And we often work in co-hosting, so that 2 people do the hosting. And that way, if somebody is unwell 1 week or has to miss a week due to some other commitment, it's not stuck on one person's job to do it all. So come along on April 13th at 6:30 p.m. and get the Zoom link from Cheryl. We will have a community circle meeting next Sunday, Sunday the 28th at 12:30 p.m. So we'll have a wrap up, a little bit of chatter, and then we'll come back on Zoom or stay on Zoom, a financial update. We'll talk about that search committee I was just discussing, any staff updates we have, and we'll have the same link if you're coming back on as the Unity service for the same day. So you can stay on or you can come back on at 12:30 if you would like to do that. I will be with you. It's my joy and pleasure to present the new Dream Heaven on Earth. It's Palm Sunday next week, the beginning of the Easter week. And we're going to talk about the last 2 chapters of the 4 agreements. These are the further chapters about Toltec agreements and ways of being and having a new dream, which is heaven on earth, rather than it, of course, as we know, with Unity being anywhere else. So I hope you'll join us next week, and I'll be delighted to be your speaker. Let's conclude with I am the light of God.
I am the light of God, I am the love of God, I am the power of God, I am the presence of God, wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God, you are the love of God, you are the power of God, you are the presence of God, wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God, we are the love of God, we are the power of God, we are the presence of God, wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Your Zen thought for the week, just reflecting our talk. Live in love, not hate. Live in hope, not anger. Live in truth, not rumor. Live in kindness, not rudeness. Live in generosity, not selfishness. Live in peace, not frustration. Live in joy, not doubt. Live in movement, not fear. Always live in love. Please stay with us. And if you want any information at all, www.Unity Kitchener has our newsletter, has past services, future events coming on. Please feel free to check that out at any time.